So welcome again. I'm Cheryl, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to scream here. Norm, high five, man. By the way, the grandparents I just mentioned, that's my Norm Fraser, my granddad. This Norm happens to have the same name as my beloved grandfather. And Norm, in week 5 of the program, where I talk about Thrill, you're going to hear an incredible story about my Norm Fraser and his beloved wife, Evie. All right, so what has become passion? I think you all know after the backstage tour, which I'm going to do now. After that, I'm going to give you a little more information. If you think you'd like to join the program, that would be an absolute delight. I am going to offer a fast action bonus to those of you here today. Norm got that last weekend. What that is, if you're here because you think you might want to join the program and you decide on this call that, yeah, I do want to join, I'm just going to join. Leah will give you the link a little later, and I will give you a ticket worth $300 to my day-long event in December as a bonus, in addition to everything you get with the Become Passion program. I'll talk about that in a bit. What I want to do right off the hop is I'm going to screen share here. What happens if you choose to join the program? I've got a couple of you on here who did join the program. You're just uber curious, so you're here. But this presentation is mostly for those of you who are thinking you might want to join the program and you just want a little more information on how the heck it works. What happens is when you join, I'll show you that after, but you'll get a welcome video, you'll get an email, and I'll send you a link to an assessment. And then on Monday, day after tomorrow, doors to the program close tomorrow night, Sunday night. And on Monday, everybody in the program will get an email that will take them to something called the Relationship Portal. The actual course starts a week from today, but that's coming up next. I'm going to show you in a stepwise fashion what's going to happen when you're part of the Become Passion program. All right. Now, you should be seeing the Become Passion Relationship Portal right now. And what's going to happen on Monday, we'll be sending this relationship portal. This is like the waiting room to the library. You're going to get access to the library in a week. That's where all of your course material is going to live. I'm going to take you on a backstage tour of that course library in a minute. But this is going to be like the place you always go, the waiting room, when you're going to enter into any part of the program. And as you see, it says you can access your course on March 27th. And then on this portal, how cute do I look, by the way? Hello. On this portal, you're going to get access on Monday to the relationship survey. When you click this relationship survey tab, it's going to take you to a relationship survey. And sometime in the next week or 2 or 3, I'm going to ask all of you, it's optional, but I really encourage you to do it, to fill out this extensive couples assessment where you're going to tell me about your relationship, what's working, what's not, what you need to do about it, how your sexuality is, what are your biggest problems, what are some of the sweetest or most beautiful memories you have as a couple, etc. Usually people finish it in the first 1, 2, or 3 weeks. It's not required. It's super helpful though, because I read each and every one. And then on the live coaching and Q&A calls, I know you, I know your history, and I can guide you better. You also, through the portal, can access your course schedule. It's going to show you exactly when each week of material is released. So week 1 is released March 27th. That's the week of training on the Passion Triangle, and so on. There's 8 weeks of lessons. They're spread over 10 weeks. Why? Because I'm a really good educator and I know what works. So you get 3 weeks of material, and then you get a week to kind of catch up, get caught up with that material. We still have a coaching class that day. Anyway, it's all pretty obvious when you get there. I'm going to move through it fairly rapidly. Then we've got the live Q&A dates. I'll be deciding the dates of the first 4 weeks of Q&As next week, after you tell me what days and times work best for you. I'll talk a bit more about that in a minute. And then this tells you which weeks your various bonuses are released. There are 5 bonuses you get as part of the Become Passion program. I released a new bonus today as well, which I will talk about. So on your portal, you can fill out your survey. The course hasn't even started yet. You get this Monday. We start 5 days later. You can access your course schedule. You can access your course checklist. And this is a checklist. You can print this page if you want. If you're like me, I'm a geek this way. I like to check things off. It tells you every lesson. It tells you what the homework is. And you're going to be able to follow along week to week. I like to make things really clear. There's a note for me welcoming you to the program. Each week, this will change a little bit, and it will tell you new information about that particular week of the program. And at the bottom, my favorite feature, there's Mr. Leo. This is a tech video he recorded to really walk you through the program. It's actually very intuitive and very easy, but Leo walks you through it. Okay. Now, I'm going to stop that screen share. and pop back in. You should be able to see me. Did that all work there, Leo? Did everybody see the screen share? No problem. Can you just give me a thumbs up in the chat box if that's true? I hope Naomi was able to exit and re-enter and get it. Okay, everything worked great. So that's the first thing that's going to happen. All that is the waiting room. It's got a few cool things. It's got a few things you need to do. And that's to set you up for success when we start the course proper 1 week from today on March 27th. Now, I'm going to share the screen and I'm going to show you what it looks like 1 week from today when you actually access the course platform. So this is, as you see at the top here, the course library. So that was the waiting room. That's where you can always go, the one I just showed you. Now this is the library that's going to be your best friend for the 10 weeks of the program. You get access to the first week of content 1 week from today on the 27th of March in our case, and you'll watch a welcome video. I can even start the
week is about. Video. And I want to just say why I called them home play sheets.
So you get a welcome video. I give you a brief overview to the whole course. And then starting on the day you get access to this, the first week of content is unlocked. So the first week of lessons are available to you. Now, if you're a methodical person, the first thing you'll do is watch the first snapshot.
Well, hello and welcome to week 1. The theme of this week is the passion triangle.
And so on. So each week there's usually 3 or 4 core lessons. There's a brief snapshot that outlines what we're focusing on this week and why. Then there's the lessons themselves. Let's take lesson 3. And the lessons are not me on screen, because a better way to learn is to have audio and slides you can follow along with.
Remember this, into your bones, the passion triangle. And when you get off track and you think, oh, what's wrong with my relationship, or what's wrong with me and seeking a relationship, come back to say, well, where am I strong? And absolutely within your grasp to get the tools and the information to.
So what you see is in this first lesson, or I chose the third one, we'll go to the first one now. You've got the lesson that you watch, and depending on the week, there are home play sheets. These are exercises you're going to download. You click here, for example, and you download the first homework exercise. What does it take to be a great partner, a great lover? It's a little bit of teaching here. And then I ask you, in what ways do you currently create opportunities for passion? You fill this out, you think about it, mull it over. What do I currently do? A little, a lot, not much. Then, how much time and effort am I actually spending on my relationship? What are some ideas I can come up with to make my love life my new hobby, and so on? This will all make much more sense when you've watched the lesson that goes along with it. So then, that's a typical week. You've got a snapshot. In this case, you've got 3 lessons. You don't have to watch them all at the same time. Of course, you might watch one, do the homework, watch one a few days later, and so on. And at the end of the week, one of my favorite things is I do a review of the week's lessons, and I give you a date night challenge.
Week, by the way, we're going to begin to focus more deeply on intimacy. The theme of next week's teaching is intimacy and kind speech. Wait for it. It's going to be good.
And then you're set up for the following week of teaching. Now, really briefly, every Friday night, it doesn't have to be Friday night. I call it the Friday night date night challenge. So each week of the program, in the summary of that week's material, I give you a challenge that I want you to do at your weekly date night. Your date night might be Wednesday at 10 a.m. if that works for you, to get you into action and moving forward. So that's what the course looks like. Then the second week, 7 days after week 1, you've got the course schedule to remind you when you're getting it. You get access to week 2 material. Remember, you have lifetime access to all of this material, but it actually gets better because that's only the course lessons. Okay. Now I should be back on screen with you. So we're taking a backstage tour of what happens in this digital program. Now, we know, because you've been paying attention, that the Become Passion program is an immersion program with several components to it. One is the 8 weeks of curriculum I've just showed you. And those are dripped out over 10 weeks. We have 2 weeks I call an implementation week, where you don't get new material, so you don't get overwhelmed. You've got a chance to catch up and rehearse some of the skills you're learning. The major thing that most of you appreciate the most about the Become Passion program are actually the bonus lessons and the coaching calls with me. So I'm now going to screen share and show you what that looks like. So every week for the 10 weeks of the program, see what this is. Perfect. I got the right one. Every week for the 10 weeks of the program, each and every week, you get a live call with me, a live class with me in the same platform where you're watching me right now. You're not on screen. Your confidentiality is taken care of. You don't even need to use your own name in the chat box. You can ask me questions ahead of time. Here's how it works. You send me your questions before the live call. I choose those live calls based on the times that work best for you. I'll be surveying all of you on Monday and asking you which days of the week and which times. I give you a little grid to fill out to check all the ones that you could attend. And then I take the 2 most popular times, and we generally alternate these live calls between the 2 most popular times. For the last group, it was, I believe, Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific time was a popular time. And Thursday evening at 5 p.m. Pacific time was a popular time. For this group, it's looking a little different, but usually a weekday time, usually a weekday evening Pacific time and Eastern time in North America works, and a Saturday or a Sunday time. So you'll be able to attend probably at least half of the classes, but don't worry. Here's what happens. There's a confidential link. You send me your question about your relationship. I answer your question on the live call. You then, if you were not there, you watch one of these recordings. Here they are. We've got 10 weeks of Q&As with Cheryl. This is from the last group. So let's say you missed week 5's class. You'll just go into your same place. Look, my hair was shorter. That was before COVID when all my hair grew like crazy. And I'll just...
I've ever experienced that sip of water.
There you go.
Almost all of us experience that in spades. The mind of thrill, which sounds rather lofty and is actually deceptively simple. And I would put forward deceptively profound. I'm asking you to every day for 30 days, write down. Don't just think about, really important to write it down. Just trust me on that for now. I explained why in the first.
Oops. So there you go. There's a typical Q&A session. And that's recorded. So if you weren't there live, Yahoo, you watch the whole thing, and I make it easier for you. So down below, I say, this is what I covered in this week's teaching. In the first 10 minutes, I gave a mini teaching. This was, I offered this one back in about April last year. So COVID was all pretty new and scary. I talk about a psychology toward that. And then at minute 10, I talk about this topic. And then I get down to Q&As. Question: what should I do if I've watched the course videos, but I haven't done the home place? Question: do you think time apart is good for a relationship? So you'll see where your questions are answered. Let's go to the week 8 Q&A. That's the sexuality, one of the 3 sexuality weeks. And here I say, in the first 20 minutes, I talk about dark sensual energy in this live class. So if you missed it, or if you watched it and your partner maybe missed it, they can watch it after. I talk about some of the things I talk about. Then I talk about the Q&As and, where in the recording the various things are answered. I don't fantasize about something taboo or anything else. Am I normal? What about men with low sexual desire and loss of attraction? Minute 48. So I certainly hope you'll watch the whole thing, because frankly, they're pretty darn fascinating, but you can find the piece that works for you. All right. I should be back on screen. Okay, so what have I showed you so far? On Monday, those of you who joined the program get that portal. You get to fill out your relationship assessment. You get to download the schedule, the checklist, watch the tech video, get all excited. And then next Saturday, you get access to the first week of lessons and that welcome video I just gave you a glimpse backstage at. Then we'll schedule, based on your needs as a group, when the first coaching call will be, probably about 5 or 6 days after I release week 1 material. I like to give you a chance to watch a couple of the lessons. You might not get to all of them. That's okay. You can catch up later. And then we'll have our first call. You'll send me your Q&A. You'll show up live if you can. You'll watch the replay if you can. And there's one more piece, which are the bonus master classes. Look, I'm really good at what I do, but so are a lot of my incredible colleagues and friends. So third piece of the program you get is you get access to 5 master classes. This is where I've invited colleagues of mine. They're top of their industry. And as I tongue-in-cheek say on the sales page, Google them, you'll see they really are some of the top in the field, published authors, top researchers, etc. And so here, these won't be all released at once, but on week 2, we release your first bonus. It's called How to Fight Fair, the 4 Predictors of Divorce. So were you to watch that bonus? Here it is. You would watch the class.
Well, here we are. It's my distinct pleasure to invite my friend and one of my mentors,
that when we criticize our partner, there's a good chance that they're going to become defensive.
No, I won't. What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Exactly. That's it right there. Now,
there's me joking and being defensive. So here, Lawrence is talking about the Gottman research and techniques of the 4 killer behaviors that predict divorce. So down here, you see what's in this masterclass. I give a summary, and we give antidotes to each of these 4 killer behaviors. The antidote to criticism is called a softened startup, a technique we talk about here, and so on. And then there's a bit of information about Lawrence. So then on week 4, we release a bonus on the principles of healthy marriage. I release a meditation for you to do as a couple around connecting and whatnot. Then in week 7 and 8, you get 2 incredible bonuses. Dr. Marta Miana, who's an expert in women's sexual desire, there's a bonus with her I release, and the same thing. You will
Good morning,
watch
Marta.
the
I'd
video.
like to introduce you to the couples who are watching. And I had the pleasure of seeing Marta present at the Society for Sex Therapy and Research.
And so we have an hour-long class on female sexual desire. And then we've also got an article to download of her research in that field for those of you that are really wanting to learn even more and read her academic article. All right, so much juicy awesomeness there in the bonus section. All right, I'm going to stop screen sharing there. I'm going to come back. So this gives you a sense, because it's pretty mysterious. I had never taken an online course myself till about 4 years ago, and I found the whole thing a bit intimidating and a bit odd until I saw what it was about, and I found it's a really incredibly interactive platform. So now you see the lessons each week are released for you. They're there. You can watch them at your leisure. The live classes, it's fun if you can attend live, but a lot of times people can't. They watch the replay, you get your question answered, and it's there in the replay. And the bonus classes are released throughout the 10 weeks of the program for you to access at the time that works best for you. And everything is there. We call it, you've got lifetime access to the program. What does that mean? Well, we kick off together 1 week from today on March 27th for 10 weeks. Over that 10 weeks, I drip the 8 weeks of content with 2 weeks off without new content. Every week of those 10 weeks, I teach that live 60 to 90 minutes. Sometimes we run 2 hours class. If you have a lot of questions, I stay and I answer them. So we've got 10 weeks together where I'm there with you every step of the way, holding your hand, holding you accountable, helping you when you run into roadblocks, reassuring you that you're not going to fix everything in 3 months. It's okay if you're behind. You can begin again where you are. You've got lifetime access to all the material. None of it goes away for as long as I teach this course. My intention is to teach this course for the next 5 to 10 years. I have some couples who've decided that on their anniversary month every year, they're going to go back and review the curriculum, redo some of the exercises together, and reignite some of the things that maybe they've let slide by being a little bit caught in Marriage Incorporated. So that's your backstage tour of the platform. I can't wait to work with so many of you coming up. I'm going to do a bit more explaining now, but I wanted to get that done right away because it's the part that I thought that would help you the most to really take this idea of an online program and make it much more tangible, where you can really see what it looks like. All right.